this is love to the max. And when we tell them, Anil, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics.
Anil is zero race talk, zero idiotic talk. I deal with facts and information. All they are no shame, boy. All they are no shame. All they want to cut people now in a pandemic, under lockdown, shutdown, and
douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Listen very carefully. I want to say congratulations to all the children who fought through the stress, the parents with the SEA exam. Now, I don't know where the Guardian get it. Oh, smooth SEA, smooth. Yes, Guardian. And the Minister Bundles. A historic day, says Minister Bundles. I wonder what bundles she had on when she said that. They probably pull it too tight. Because here, I must say that they acknowledging that the past academic year was not easy. To the thousands of school children, Gadsby Dolly's Minister Bundle said, "You are a cohort of students who have made it through our first ever virtual school year, and you are writing the SEA as an historic cohort of students. I'm so proud of you." That's really something to be historic about. Not actually who got online. Was it fair? Is it fair? Who going to fail? How many going to fail? How many hours were lost? You talking about some kind of historic thing, as if them children's life could compare to the 20 years before, 40 years before, or 30 years after. Children are individuals. Each DNA strain is different and separate and apart. And each child's life and future earnings will be determined by your incompetence and your government's incompetence in handling the education system pre-COVID, during COVID, and we're still in COVID. I nearly thought we were in a country with a government who was intelligent like those other countries, playing Euro, football, Olympics coming in Tokyo, track and field Diamond League, basketball playoffs going on. Oh my goodness, I nearly thought we were in the real world, but we're not. We are in pandemic, like the pandemic taking a rest on we, like how Al-Rawi sit down in law school, the pandemic staying along on we. She continued, "Your big day is almost here. I'm so excited for you." Really? You're excited for them? Why you weren't excited to get the 46,690 children online, Wi-Fi, tablets, devices? Why you weren't excited to find the 2,000 children who log on and then disappeared? Why you wasn't excited to ensure that they get Pfizer vaccine for your children so they could go back to school? Why you wasn't excited to try and build some more schools? Why you wasn't excited to try and increase the gate back to where Fazal Karim had it up at 800 million instead of cutting it in half down to 400 million? Why you wasn't excited to try and keep the scholarships up at 400, 500 as Kamala had it, and you cut it down to come and what? Who have bundles go get scholarship now? Bursary. You get a bundle of bursaries. That's what you're about? I ain't done with bundles yet, you know. I'm dealing with bundles today. Maybe I'm jealous because I don't have bundles. I have a shiny bald head that gets sunburned from fishing. I want to extend love and positivity and prayer to help guide you through this exam. You is the Minister of Education. You is not the parent. The parent is to extend love. You is not a pastor. The pastor and the pundit and the imam and the priest is to pray for them. And what else? Positivity. You is not the teachers. The teachers will instill positivity on them going forward. You is to get them laptop. You is to get them resources. You is to provide them with a safe environment. You is to finish all the school Tim Gopi Singh and Kamla had left there and have snake and people thieving out galvanized and bush, all kind of things. That's your work. Not to give them love and positivity and prayer. What you feel is? Next thing you want to get them bundles too. Strategies in place to deal with school dropout, says Minister Bundles. Minister Bundles, we are going to be putting measures in place in our country to ensure that those who would not have been engaged for one reason or the other, and just to make the point that the lack of these devices is not the only reason students were not engaged. There are students who had everything, yet could not make that transition to the online school. So we are putting strategies in place to deal with that. 17 months later, you're now going to try to create a strategy to try to implement to catch children that drop out of school. You have no clue about those who didn't even start the online, the 46,690. You, who could not even provide them with devices. Children finish 17 months, school gone on holiday, and some children have not gone online yet. You are telling us that you are now going to try to put a strategy to try to downplay, to limit the negative impacts on children's life having dropped out of school for 17 months. You now going to study that? Y'all on the ball, boy. All you on the ball. Like Germany on the ball now that England knocked them out. They're not on no ball. You're on the ball, just like Terry Fennick on the... Oh, he's not on the ball either. Let me done with Bundles, yes? Shake up on Plipdeco board as chairman and 4 others resign. Every PNM board, but I'm surprised this make the papers, Guardian. The Point Lisa's Port Development Corporation, Plipdeco, has announced a major shake-up of its board members of directors. The board of directors' resignation of its chairman, Ian Atterley, Ibn Dilion, some very serious patriots, some very serious people who know about procurement, lack of procurement, and so on. So I could tell all you, I go in and investigate this, because these men, we're going to NGC just now, these people coming off that board, it had thieving going on, something going on that them don't agree with, because them don't play. Them kind of people don't play. Oh Lord Archie, I don't know what to do with you. We only doing this thing a whole year now. I better get some bundles and put in your head, because maybe you will do a strategy, Archie, to not have your phone ring. Hines, audit finds Trinidad and Tobago's disaster response satisfactory. Right? Archie, you had a run back there. National Security Minister Fitzgerald Hines says Trinidad and Tobago's performance and capacities in disaster response have been deemed adequate based on the findings of an independent disaster management audit. So Talbot come to tell us, when it drizzle, we just flood out and nearly drown. When it drizzle, we just look, a little rain. Barbados, Grenada, and thing get full storm blow off. We just get rain. And not no heavy big bucket of drop rain that just bounce on your ball head and splash, you know. Just constant above drizzle. And look what happened. And this man saying, this man who over the last 6 years, the PNM has not even paid people for how many times people get flood out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Anytime it rain, flood out, chaos, fridge, stove, TV, mash up. We had a time where men was taking the boat and saving people. They can't see ODPM, they can't see nothing, they can't see national security. The fire service didn't have nothing to get people out of Greenville. Talbot say, yeah man, somebody did an audit and they say that we are fine. We are a disaster in disaster management. Look at that. And we ain't getting no rain yet. And to the people of Barbados, Grenada, we wish you all well. But we know that you all are in good hands because you all have an intelligent Barbados and Grenada intelligent prime ministers. So that we saw roofs blowing off. We saw all kind of, the tropical storm moved a hurricane in Barbados, very hard hit. But we are saying that we are praying for y'all. We don't know what help we could give because we suffering under a hurricane, a pandemic, an earthquake called Rowley and the PNM. But we will try to at least send you some prayers. But we know y'all in good hands. And at Talbot, you just look at how Grenada and Barbados handled their disaster, and you will see that we are not okay. Our disaster preparedness under the PNM in the last 6 years has been horrendous. And you even forget, you paid for newspaper articles to tell us what sort of, how the ODPM don't kick in until 6 days after. You say that the community must see about itself first. And when the communities, you remember your little flow chart you all paid advertisement for? Your little flow chart that said that the ODPM don't get involved because community see about itself, and when they overwhelm, the corporations will have, and if the corporations don't have, then they move to this, and then the first responders come. This is Barbados. Thank the Lord we didn't get that, and I hope, and we've said our prayers out to the people of Barbados. We hope nobody was injured, hurt, or killed, but there was a lot of damage. But we are confident because Mia Moore Motley has shown as our Prime Minister, she knows how to handle things. That her disaster preparedness is fantastic. So I'm sure you all will get assistance. Back to Ethelbert. Ethelbert, thank the Lord them breeze didn't blow my way. Because you not even, the breeze don't even blow you into a press conference to talk about your own portfolio. The breeze don't even blow you up by an airport when the border's going to open. It had Rohan and Smallpin, the Minister of Energy, going to open my airport. What are they doing up there? They're looking for gas. They're drilling for oil in Piaco. What Smallpin going up there? Asha Javid had a flight to go out. Oh, no more Asha. No more Asha. Asha ain't gone. Gone Goodwood Park. But boy, I ain't no lying and dealing with Asha Javid and thing, boy. Stuarty boy. Stuarty here looking so good, you know. NGC has some explaining to do. Peter Christopher, BG6 Business Guardian. Remember NGC make a loss for the second year running after 40-something years of only profit. But PNM come and it's loss after loss. They make $2.1 billion. Sorry, 4.2 billion. Then they went and do some fancy accounting and take out things and say, oh, should we make a small profit? That is the PNM way. But NGC has some explaining to do. Business Guardian, they classify those as exceptional charges. They are non-recurring. One is a $2.1 billion contract which they provided for. So one is a contract in which they provided $2.1 billion, which means that they expect the loss to be in the amount of the contract that became effective in 2020. So NGC PNM take out a contract to do something in 2020, and in 2020 them expect to lose $2.1 billion. I agree. All you have some explaining to do, Lucy. You need to do some explaining. We need some explanation. That is very good. Who signed that? Who's the bright spark? All you raise back Malcolm Jones from the dead and bring it in to negotiate that, or Conrad Enel. Who's your daddy, by the way? And is there any relationship between you and Philip Julian? We know who's Philip Julian daddy. Who's your daddy? You all look kind of similar, you know. Wade Mark asked Franklin Can before he died about that situation, because we see like we're going a new generation of Julian boy. Julian from the 1968 come forward is Ken Julian Desire. Anything with energy, electricity, money, and gas, it have Ken Julian. His son, Stephen Julian, like he owned the whole Atlanta. I feel all better go and do DNA tests. I feel you could get some red, white, and black and all that thing out there in Atlanta. Now it have Philip Julian. Rowley said they're going to report on hydrogen. A committee is coming to report. Them done announce and shake hand MOU with Philip Julian, Kenneth J, and them to do hydrogen. Rowley don't even know that the boys and them tell the truth before he come to lie. The man is pathological. So, Conrad, on top of explaining the 2.1 billion loss in a contract that was signed for some investment in the same 2020 and you lost the whole thing, explain that. And then explain who's your daddy for me too. Because I find it going on long, man. Tell me now, man. You look like Philip. He said, I think more should be said about this particular contract. Why is it considered a loss? And why is the loss so high? Ramlakan said, this is Prakash Ramlakan. So the NGC, more bacchanal, but while them losing money, when Kamla and the UNC leave NGC, 2015, 2016, NGC make $2 billion US profit. US, multiply now by 7, some all your black market, multiply by 8, right? Rowley and Smallpin going to negotiate gas price in Houston. That $2 billion US gone down to 300 million, then it gone into 100 million loss, now it gone into 2.13 billion loss. Loss after loss after loss. But NGC making loss. But look what the PNM and Conrad Enel spending all your money on in a pandemic when you can't get a hamper. And when you line up a hamper, them they see the greedy in you. Forging future success from the strengths of our past. This from a company that just make billions of dollars in losses. Them pay 15 to 20,000 by 3. 60,000 plus the ad work, plus the artistry, plus the ad agency to put this nonsense in the papers. Then spend $100,000 to tell all you, never mind we lost, the future is bright. And I don't want to vote for the PNM. You know, them are no conscience, you know. Them really print this boy. And this is $100,000 in ads. And all your people cannot even get. Hey, all you get that ready for me, you know. They don't even want to buy or pay contractual allowances to nurses. They don't even want to pay shoe, all you feel on their life, and uniform. Shoe and uniform allowance to nurses who walk in, putting their life at risk. Dealing with COVID-19, Brazilian variant, Delta variant on the way, people dead in, pressure. This government sent out a memo to tell nurses, not, hey, thanks for this 17 months of extra work, danger, putting your life at risk, putting your health at risk, putting your families at risk. We are going to send you all an extra $5,000 each per month that you worked hard, you know, a little bonus. You know, this memo, we are showing you that we care. We love and respect you, so every nurse will get a bonus of $5,000 for every month that they worked hard in this COVID pandemic, because the PNM shows they care and they love and they respect your effort. Let me read the memo. It's not that, it's not a bonus. We are not going to be able to pay. I can't read it. I just remembering it. Shoe. All you could put that bigger. All you put that far. All you want to feel like is a young boy. Right. Now put it in the middle. Let me read it properly. I wish to advise that due to authorities' current severe financial constraints as a result of the ongoing pandemic, the payment of uniform and shoe allowance to eligible employees, nursing and allied health manipulative, has been deferred until further notice. Employees will be advised of any further updates to this decision in due course. Salisha Baksh, Chief Executive Officer, Northwest. North what? Put it down a bit. No, I take it away. Pull it down a little bit. Yes. Down, that's up. Yes, I feel you is Davlin Thomas in here today, boy. Huh? Actually, I don't know what's going on. Hospital Administrators Memorandum, Northwest Regional Health Authority. Take it down now. Y'all read that? In a pandemic, nurses and other health workers, the PNM tell them, we know you have a contract for shoe and uniform, you know, but we ain't have no money. But we could spend 100,000 on a ridiculous dotish ad to tell we about the future bright while we making loss. $100,000. How much shoe and uniform that would I buy? Eh? How much? Brilliant. That's all I have to say. We're moving right along. Keith Christopher Rowley says, get real, Kamala. As he blasts the opposition leader behavior on the Tobago bills. You all like to put this word blast like Rowley's blast. Who the hell care about who Rowley could blast? Rowley can't even blast Julie Raymond again because the COVID-19 has given you erectile dysfunction. All you come to tell me about he blast? Who Rowley could blast? Rowley not shooting. The blanks is shooting. The man come with a flop bill from Tobago, cheat in the parliament, play the fool, break the rules, and come to tell about Kamala? Leave Kamala alone. Get real, Kamala. Express still trying to put, but this is the front page, eh? Get real, Kamala Express. But inside, on page 3, 11th cop, meaning police officer, dies from COVID-19. Right? But all you had time to put flipping Rowley on our front page. People fed up at he. Even PNM people realize he's a total clown. And all you're still trying to make we feel the whole CARICOM know he's a good. They get rid of he. Biden don't take he on. Nobody ain't taking he on. But all you're still trying to put he on we. 11th police officer. Take Rowley thing, eh? Dead of COVID. And that's what all they're talking. Why all they didn't ask him, but are they buying more equipment, PPEs, equipment for the officers who are out there more at risk, those who are dealing with COVID-19 patients and so on, the officers in the jail, in the prisons and so on? Are you all talking any of that? Then the Newsday ball, tit for tat over Tobago. Really? Tit for tat? The government, the PNM government that has 2 seats in Tobago and 2 representatives that has called an election in January and lost as a 6-all, but spending money in Tobago as normal, come with a bill, watered down, that does nothing for Tobago, disrespects Tobago, disrespects the will of Tobago, the clown who is the Prime Minister, like the boast that he was he from Mason Hall. Well, Mason Hall and all don't want to see he. And then you all come to say tit for tat. When he breaches every rule and agreement in Parliament, that is what is called tit for tat, or the government is playing games with serious business. They go ahead, tit for tat. Here, now we move in to Faris, Al-Rawi, Al-Rental, Al-Recusal, Al-Tight Pants, Al-One-Shot, Al-Dress-Up and go in a room with 13 man and dribble and bray like a donkey and dribble and hug up and dribble all in the airs. Faris, what does he have to say? The door is still open for public comments. Really? You bring a bill, you enter a joint select committee, you do your own thing, you ignore the PDP, you ignore Tobago, you change up all the consultation that went on for 12 years, you water down the bill, just like you come and gut procurement, and now when you bring it, and the whole of Tobago spitting out PNM like a sour lemon, you come to say that they could still consult, but when it comes to debate, you close the door on the opposition. You all want to get a bill passed. If you really want to get a bill passed, what a leader does. When Biden want to get something done with the Republicans and he need money and so on, he had to sit down with the Republicans and barter and make make little agreements, try to get it done, try to get an agenda that you could agree on, trash it out. Y'all just feel all you could shout down, cuss down, hijack the parliament, have a blue hair lady who feels she's a headmistress. Me, I know what she's screaming at and shouting so far. She should have shout. She should have, or she husband should have shouted at she when she was misbehaving. Why he didn't put a standing order on you? You have so much talk and so much language now. Jackie Lazarus tell the truth, you know, I'm coming at you to find out the story just now because like they're overdoing. We moving on. They have a video. you have me, when I'm dealing with Al-Rawi, we had to deal with Al-Rawi. I'm telling you, a recusal, he's losing the script. He is lost in his mind. Today in the parliament, today, Al-Rawi decide. People asking him too much question. He losing too many cases. He crumbling. He don't know what to do. The man nearly started crying in the parliament. Boy, Al-Rawi, cool it, boy. Your mascara nearly run inside the parliament there. And on top of that, you're shouting and trembling. You're becoming unhinged, son. You want to bray like a donkey in the parliament just now? All you feel are joking? Archie, run mascara man for me there, Al-Rawi.
24-4 to address a question to the Honorable Attorney General. Could the Minister state if the list of legal firms and attorneys and fees paid to them includes payments to the legal firm of which his wife is a partner?
Very pleased, Madam Speaker, to categorically say not a black, red, white, or fictitious cent has ever been paid to the law firm that my wife is a member of by the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs. Not 1 cent, Madam Speaker, and I wish to thank the Honourable Member for allowing me to put an end to a blatant untruth, put onto the public record by wicked and nefarious people, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
All you hold up. Now we're going to look at that again. And I just want to be clear and let you all know the facts of the situation. The Attorney General is the legal advisor, legal representative of the cabinet of the government of Trinidad and Tobago. The Attorney General advises the cabinet on all matters of governance, in charge of everything under the umbrella. There are some briefs that are given from the office of the Attorney General. There are other briefs that are given from every single ministry may have a legal matter that they have to attend to. And the Ministry of Sport may hire some lawyers, but all of these fall under the umbrella of the Attorney General, who sits at the right side of the Prime Minister. There are statutory authorities in government. There are special purpose companies. There are boards like NGC, PLIPDECO, all of these boards, Petrotrin, and the Attorney General has overarching powers, advisory, and in charge of everything to do with legal matters. Secondly, the Honorable Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi, a la one shot, a la running mascara, loves to tell you about anan. And he tells you of billions of dollars in legal fees. You know, some of the legal fees cases started between 2002 and 2010 May. Others started in 2010 to 2015 and so on. But when he gives you the anan figure, he includes legal briefs and legal fees from the Office of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, from all state companies, from statutory authorities, from special purpose companies, from all ministries. So he lumps all of that on anan. And he come now to separate himself as he is just a piece of an attorney. Well, we know that. he had the mental capacity of 1/8 of an attorney general. He nearly set up shop in law school when zinging through. He had to go over and over, and he still couldn't get it in his head. So he tried to extricate his little piece from his little office, and he come in the parliament. When we don't know that it was the office of the prime minister that utilized the firm of which his wife is a partner. It was the office of the prime minister. So he come there knowing that he telling his own truth, that it is not, no brief went to his wife firm from the office of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs. Nobody asked you that. We know it was the office of the Prime Minister. Your sort of integrity and moral compass to try and extricate yourself as an Attorney General because a brief went from the Prime Minister who appoint you Attorney General, it takes you out of it. Well, we understand you because you rent your own building, you outfit your own building with taxpayer money, and you think that's good. You buying Porsche like it's hops bread, and we know, we understand you. But don't come there and cry. All you listen to him now and listen. He's very careful, you know. Very careful to shout and scream and say, from the Attorney General and Legal Affairs. We know that. We want to know how much the brief was from the office of the Prime Minister and how many other briefs under the government, the statutory authorities, the special purpose companies, other ministries, how much work your wife getting legal work while you is the boss of all legal work, the Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want all you to watch how these PNM does lie with passion, how they just tremble, how they just shout and talk arrogance, run the clown, run the crybaby.
Not a black, red, white, or fictitious cent has ever been paid to the law firm that my wife is a member of by the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Legal Affairs. Not 1 cent, Madam Speaker, and I wish to thank the Honourable Member for allowing me to put an end to a blatant untruth, put onto the public record by wicked and nefarious people, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Well, you see the mascara? It is running in the corner. You put an end to the blatant lie, the untruth. Yeah. Tell me how much the brief is that your wife company, your wife law firm get from the OPM, from the Office of the Prime Minister. And did she get any other briefs from any other government department, ministry, statutory authority, or special purpose company? Your crybaby mascara wearing, makeup wearing, tight shirt wearing, running a room with 13 men and enjoy yourself. You're like you're jealous of Stuarty because Stuarty have that dancer boy bareback who want to make his wife. Or you're getting jealous in the PNM. Or you behave all yourself. You're becoming unhinged. I ain't know what else to say. Let me go back to Tobago because it's very important. I'm going to read from some stakeholders in Tobago because Rowley's trying to tit for tat and the UNC and Kamla, and why Kamla talking on Tobago because the UNC don't put candidate there because the UNC and Kamla respects Tobago. Kamla Persad-Bissessar as Prime Minister never put the Chief Secretary of Tobago to sit down on the floor while she up on her stage talking. Kamla Persad-Bissessar never had ministers running all over the Chief Secretary portfolio, giving away land and negotiating hotel to be built in Tobago without the Chief Secretary heading it up in front. When it was MIC centers with David Lee and Fazal Karim, when it was a gas station with Kevin Ramnarayan, when it was Wassa with Ganga Singh, when it was Dwight York Stadium with me, it always had Chief Secretary and the Secretaries of Sport or Health or Education always involved with total respect. So don't play the game, Rowley. You have walked all over the people of Tobago, but the people of Tobago have seen it, have read it. Kevon McKenna, marketing and events consultant from Tobago. I am also concerned that on one end, we rejected a far superior Tobago self-government bill in 2013 to then turn around to now face a bill that promises much less. Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus, a PNM in Tobago, a PNM lady. Okay. The only way we can reasonably have a chance at getting autonomy is when Tobagonians cock their party hats to one side. In her case, she had a cock the balize. Let me don't say that, not a Rowley around. Once you say cock the balize, he does stand up. Oh no, he can't stand up now, COVID-19, positive, erectile dysfunction. Rowley boy, it's showing. That's why you're coming unhinged. Can't. The village ram can't perform again, so everything crumbling, The village ram boy, from Sawa. No, you're not from Sawa, from Mason Hall. The only way we can reasonably have a chance at getting autonomy is when Tobagonians cock their party hats to one side and come to the table as Tobagonians united around a position. At this point in time, the Assembly's approach to both governments has been met with serious changes. That is Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus, a PNM Tobagonian. Pamela Nicholson, now Tobagonian, former member of Parliament for Tobago West, says, I was alarmed. This is what Newsday, Judy Raymond, who come in unhinged too, because she water in the garden and water. So she started right tit for tat. Pamela Nicholson, former member of Parliament for Tobago West, says, I was alarmed at the Speaker. She behaves as if the House is a one-sided affair. She is chairman of both sides. I do not appreciate the unbalanced, biased approach of the Speaker of the House. Now, you would see what Kamala Persad-Bissessar had to say, because in the Parliament they tried to thwart the voice of the opposition. And when she spoke about the bill, I agree with what she did. Archie, run Kamala Persad-Bissessar.
They've gutted it from a 20-clause bill, reduced it to how many clauses? They deleted clause 5, clause 6, clause 8, clause 9, clause 10, clause 15, clause 16, clause 17, clause 18. They've deleted the preamble to the bill. They've deleted the certificate that would have been included, saying this has got the requisite majority. That has been deleted. And it reminds us of the procurement legislation, how they gutted that out. So from this 21 clauses, I think it is, they've come down to just a few clauses left by deleting all these. But what they've deleted are very important provisions for the people of Tobago. So having deleted all of those, the bill is a totally wasteless bill, I guess. There's nothing left in it, absolutely nothing left for the people of Tobago, except just the words. Nothing, nothing, nothing. 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 And if they think by doing that, they will use a simple majority in the Parliament now to get their own way. It's a kind of bad mind and spite at ill will. When we raise the concerns that we can't support this as it is, so they know they will not get our votes. So what do? They remove all the provisions that need a special majority and think they're spiting me and the UNC. You know who is being spited is malice and ill will is the people of Tobago. That's what they're doing. And all they want is to pass the next bill, which doesn't need the special majority, it needs a simple majority to give them money to campaign in Tobago.
Exactly. But Newsday Express, y'all didn't want to hear that. Y'all didn't listen to the debate. Anything you do is just to try to make Rowley's lies seem reasonable. Rowley is unreasonable. Rowley is a heartless fellow who takes food out of the children's mouths to put in people bag. That's what he does. Rowley is such a pathological liar. He argues with himself. Rowley will have a stated position, put it down strong, lay down his bucket, and then later on, a few years later, take the exact position, pick up the bucket and empty it. All you feel is joke making. Archie run Rowley versus Rowley.
I could speak about one of them who over and over tells the country at press conferences every 2 or 3 days that they will support nothing that the government brings to the parliament because they have some kind of grouse. Take an oath of office to look after the people's interests without fear or favor, malice or ill will, but going out there and telling the media every Monday morning they will support nothing that the government brings here. And that is true. We will not cooperate with the government of Trinidad and Tobago on any matter. We will isolate them for as long as they're in office until they leave office. The following bills came to this House, and the position of the UNC as the country's opposition, where these bills are required to be put into law for the good order and the interest and the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, wouldn't support it. Most. But because of the responsibility I have accepted, my job is to annoy the Prime Minister.
Is what you call pathological. And this is a very critical juncture in the democracy of Trinidad and Tobago. Because never before have we had a Prime Minister who is a pathological liar. Never before have we had a Prime Minister whose only interest since 1986 is to become Prime Minister to procure without procurement. Never before have we had a Prime Minister who has the ability to watch you straight in your eye and lie without flinching, bully the media and members and owners of the media that take his side and have uplifted him to the position so that the shareholders in the background could make profits, super profits in other fields. That's why we are here. Shame on you, media, and not the writers and even some of the editors, but those owners of the media who know exactly what I am talking about. Because you all are the only ones who could uplift such a turd, such a useless human being, such a scumbucket to the highest office in the land. And this is why my country, Trinidad and Tobago, is the laughing stock of the Caribbean. And you all don't seem to care. We should be the leaders. We should be donating vaccines. We should be donating doctors, healthcare, oxygen, ICU beds, ventilators. We should be taking care of our neighbors. They are surpassing us. They are taking care of us and donating vaccines to us. They are ahead of us. Their death rates are low. Their economies are running. We are starving. Their hampers are better than us. Their sports teams are doing better than us. Their athletes, their economy, their artists are making money. Everything in their islands are going better than us. We are now the pariah of the Caribbean because of that clown that is our Prime Minister, that pathological liar. But you have a parliament now that is being run worse than ever before. There have been PNM speakers before, Barry Sinanan, Oka Paul, many others, all who did a good job, a fair job. Yes, they're PNM, but they still handle the dignity and fairness of the parliament. Like the great Hector McLean who said, listen, the opposition must have its say, because the government will have its way. But with this bag of PNM Rowleyites now, that he can't service all now because COVID-19. Poor fella. Right? They are treating the parliament like it's Bali's house. Watch and see. Watch the threat to Trinidad and Tobago democracy, where the opposition is not even allowed to debate. Run it.
Why did the opposition walk out of the parliament? We were defending your democracy. Have you ever seen a government make rules and break their own rules?
The speaking time be as follows. A maximum of 2 speakers on each side for 60 minutes. All other speakers 20 minutes.
It all went well until the bully arrived.
I think I am entitled to ask for a little bit more time. I have a right to speak as the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West.
Before the Prime Minister spoke, he was made aware of the rules.
Under the motion that exists, it is 60 minutes.
How much do I have?
60 minutes.
And after I use my hour, which I earned by being the Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West,
60 minutes have now been spent.
Just like his management of everything else, he couldn't manage his own time. So this transpired.
the member for Aruka Maloney asked the House, by way of the Speaker, for an extension of my time.
I beg to move that the Prime Minister be given 60 more minutes to complete. All with no extensions. All with no extensions.
There was no agreement as it relates to extension, and the leader of government is very aware of this.
All with no extensions.
A prime minister with no principle breaks his own rules, makes a mess of everything, then blame the opposition leader.
So I don't know why the opposition leaders.
And of course, tell you the citizens polished untruths. Trinidad and Tobago, your democracy is at risk.
And it continues, it does not end there, because today in the Parliament, again, the Honorable Attorney General, the mascara man, the makeup man, the crybaby, the come unhinged, the shout and tremble, the one who tried to, oh my God, I didn't give my wife any brief. We didn't ask you. We want to know, we know who you get the brief. That's why you had to change Pampers down in the constituency office. You give she your whole brief. We're not talking about the office of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs. We are talking about the government, the office of the Prime Minister. Did they give your wife's firm or the firm that your wife is a partner a brief? We want to know about that. Don't come there and shout and tremble and cry. But when they come to make a ministerial statement and talking in the Parliament, and the opposition says, but what form is this? Is this a motion of privilege? What is this according to the standing orders? They just come and use the Parliament like a soapbox, talking like it's out on in Green Corner or down in San Fernando or in Grandy on a soapbox with Balize all in it, disrespecting the Parliament, and they are allowed so to do. But now, when the opposition says, but stick to the rules of the game, stick to the principles and the standing orders, elected members of Parliament, some with 8,000 votes, some with 11,000 votes from citizens, are thrown out and discarded from doing their job by a blue-haired lady. All you feel is joke? Look what happened today.
Speaker, on a point of order, Madam Speaker.
Member,
Since 24 March...
24th, it's one question. What? Can you sit down, please? Can you sit down, please? Member, I have asked you on 2 occasions to sit down. I'm not recognizing you. And if you persist, I now ask you to leave. I ask you to leave for the rest of the day. Member for Barataria, San Juan, I have ordered that you leave for the rest of the day. Marshal, please.
Madam Speaker, I mean, you have ruled that the behavior from the members
Member,
of the opposition,
again, take your seat. Take your seat, please.
What is the insulting language from members of you have ruled, and we respect that? But the government members are using insulting language here.
Member for Curaçao, I ask you to stand up and withdraw your outburst.
I didn't hear you clearly, Madam Speaker.
And I'm not going to ask you again. All right? I now ask you to leave the chamber. Excuse me, please. Take your seat.
this from a government with a slim majority, with an EBC that is run by the niece of a former sitting minister of the PNM, that in 7 marginals the numbers come up 9,450. When Mascara Man was seen going by the EBC office and said, "I not me," with over 37 queries, with the Prime Minister lying about Commonwealth observers. That is the actions of a speaker, not elected, appointed by the government, throwing out opposition members of parliament duly elected by the people. That's like discarding people, discarding the human beings who did not vote for the government, discarding the democracy in an arrogant manner, while allowing the government to break every rule, every standing order of the parliament. That is your democracy. That is where we reach. So now you know why members of the Plebdeco board resign. Now, will they have the testicular fortitude to say why? When there's PNM, they'll stay quiet. While that is going on, you have the PNM taking away everything from the people, weaning the people of their own taxpayers' dollars. You have children taking an SEA exam, many of them had no device. Some children who were given devices by the PNM government were instructed by their teachers and principals to return the device before they left for summer holiday. What is their status? What extra lessons, what extra work, what extra stimulation of their mind could go on in this 2.5 months? Why do they have to give it back? For whom? They cut your school feeding. They cut your sports budget down to shoestring budget. They cut PAN, they cut culture, they cut gate, they cut scholarships, they cut everything for people. They cut children life fund. Children are dying because parents can't do enough curricule or barbecue to raise money for them to get life-saving surgery. They cut now the uniform allowance of nurses and the shoe allowance of nurses during a pandemic. Run the video, run a short video on that for me. This is the heartless people who are throwing out your members of parliament, of the citizens, throwing them out of the parliament because they're standing up and reading the standing orders and stopping the thwarting of democracy, the oppression, the dictatorship. And these people are taking everything from the people, and when the people are fighting to raise their voice in parliament, they are thrown out, and you all think that is a funny joke? While this government takes everything and calls our citizens greedy for going to line up a hamper of food given by citizens who are not making money because the entire place is on lockdown, shutdown, and broke down. Run the video, and they're taking it some nurses in a pandemic. They are sick people. Run it. And yet he's telling police buy smaller car, buy cheaper car. So policeman, big strong policeman with bulletproof vests, they gotta go in a car. And when bandit run in, check them. Oh God, help me, help me, help. Them stick inside the car. That was Rowley one. For police with all them that weaponry to fit and choke up in a car to do what? But they all say, oh God, if you buy calm car, this is about the third car in 5 years. Where he living? He living up Mount Everest. He can't get so much licks. Between he and Mascara, man, that is 6 car, you know. In 6 years, a car a year, boy. All you real good. But no car get shoe and uniform to help we live in a pandemic. All you really want to go and vote again? Where my boy? All you have, my boy? Where you is? And while they're doing that, while they're cutting nurses' shoe allowance and uniform allowance, let me read something for you all. UDCOT is advertising a design, build, finance, restoration of the former Ministry of Community Development. So they had no money to pay nurses for the shoe allowance and the uniform. But Noel Garcia, remember Noel Garcia, the man that Rowley have spending money, he building all the house in Trinidad. He building airport, he building port, he building fire station, police station, community center, sports stadium, health center. Noel Garcia refurbishing Red House, refurbishing Rowley House in Tobago, refurbish President's House, all of the restoration. One man, Noel Garcia of Las Alturas Commission of Inquiry, Rowley K-Pax, that I tell you, I see him coming out of a massive store in Alice Glen with one big bag. And I swear my eyes still good. I see Rowley name mark on the bag. I'm telling all you, but all you talking about UNC corruption. When UNC there, all you see the 106 school, all you see highway, all you see velodrome, all you see aquatic center, all you see tennis center, all you see 89 recreation grounds, you see tertiary, you see UE campus, you see in Tingbill, you see in MIC, NESC centers, all in your eye hole. But they tell you them thief. They may build nothing. They may do nothing. But them spend $350 billion. Where the money gone? And while they're doing that, they're advertising. Is this critical in a pandemic when people cannot eat? People cannot get, they buff in you and tell you you're double dipping. You're getting one hamper to last you 10 months. A hamper with what? Flour, rice, corned beef, a piece of chicken wing. What it have in it? 2 cassava and a melangen. The Ministry of Sport and Community Development is desirous of restoring the former Ministry of Community Development, Culture and Arts building. So you go in and restore a building that really is critically urgent. Oxygen, restore a whole building that nobody ain't using, nobody ain't know what the building is. Ventilators, restore a building. Nurses shoe allowance and uniform, restore a building. Vaccine, restore a building. Well, they want to vote again? I ain't done there, no. Sport company, they do nothing in the sport company. They ain't build nothing, they do nothing, they can't finance nothing, they ain't helping nothing. They couldn't even pay for surgery for we elite athletes that get injured. Expression of interest. The Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago Limited invites suitably qualified individuals and firms to submit expressions of interest to provide consultancy services for the development of a scope and estimates for the installation of IP, CCTV and security monitoring systems for all the sports stadium and things. But you can't pay nurses. You can't pay nurses their allowance for shoes and uniform. But you want to put camera to watch grass grow? Because no sport there going on. We on pandemic, lockdown, shutdown and broke down. You want to spend money to put up camera? Nothing ain't done there yet, you know. public consultation. Line up my video there. I try to tell all you. Because at Lavanti, I know all you go never vote for Anil and the UNC and thing. All your PNM could do all your anything. Rowley could come and take everything from you, and you will vote 10,000 strong for the PNM. No matter what, your children could have nothing, no sport, no money, no sports day, no music, no band, no culture, no arts, no new school. St. Philip's Primary could fall down, shut down and broke down. Bullets could run through all your head. No water, no electricity, raise your bill. No CPAP work, no URP work, no school feeding, no laptop. But all you could still go, yes, vote for the PNM. Yes, I know. But I still go give all you the information. Because I still love all you. Yes, Trinbagonian. Whether you vote for me or not is irrelevant. But I told you all, they come in to move all you off the hill. Because the same people who making money in the pandemic, them members, the same people who just get KFC, they just have interchange bill and drop you into a greasy bucket of spicy crispy. Them coming for all your land. You want to know why? Lavanti Hill is the most pristine, beautiful land in the Caribbean. It overlooks the city of Port of Spain and the Gulf of Paria. It overlooks down the Central Plains, down into the Southland. The only problem with Lavanti is all you living there. So they coming to move all you. I told you all, they have done this since 2017, sign off. They slow down now because the douglAR mouth was watching it. Now in pandemic, they're trying to sneak it. Lavanti, look, I don't mean to laugh, you know. I don't mean to laugh. It's all you vote for them and you love them. I'm going to read this for you slowly. A public consultation in a pandemic with state of emergency and lockdown. Them having a public consultation on Piccadilly and Besson Street, East Port of Spain, Urban Regeneration Project. Monday, 5th July, that is Monday here, 2021, 7:30 p.m. All you know what that? This is the consultation to come and move all you out, buy all you out, take all your land. Remember, I read from the documents, they will pay you a pittance that you cannot even buy anywhere else to go and live. You're not coming back. You're not going to buy all you out. They did a survey to see 323. You see, I still remember how many people live in there, how many businesses. They even use the word chattel. Chattel. Slave terms and things in the document, remember? Or they don't remember? I feel we have to remind them, you know, Vishnu and Archie. Because this consultation is Monday, but it's a pandemic, state of emergency, curfew. What kind of consultation is that? You know what it is? A Zoom. You're going in poor people area, and all you're going to... They've advertised a Zoom consultation. As if poor people are dying to have on a laptop and get a Zoom code and sit down there. People studying how to get food on the table, how to keep the rent going, of what to do, how to live. Them come now to pretend like they're doing a mama guy consultation to come and take Lavanti. Lavanti, don't vote for me, you know, but take the information. I tell all you, so run it. It was way back. I tell all you, way back. Run it. To the people of Lavanti, just listen to the douglAR for a second. Forget that I'm a UNC. Yesterday was a spotlight that came out to talk about Port of Spain regeneration and rejuvenation. And that they will be going out for consultation on these projects to uplift your lives, the people of Lavanti, the poor people of Lavanti. Right? Yesterday, I holding in my hand a document. All of this, okay? All of this from the ACC. And today when I'm talking in the Senate, all your business, you know, all your by Piccadilly, all of the Lavanti who will never vote for me, but I have the document, right? Randall Mitchell, only jumping up to stop me, all kind of things, saying I'm irrelevant, all kind of, just to stop me, but he can't stop it. Because what this document says is that Lavanti, your land has been sold
You go on, they are acquiring. Your PNM government, the black man government, is taking, starting with Piccadilly, 100 edifices, 100 businesses, 100 people with property at Piccadilly around that Besson Street area there. That's why they leave the station down like that. Foster Cummins, how the SS going? Anyway, they are coming to acquire your properties. And you are going to get paid pittance for it. This decision, this is the contract here, letter of acceptance. This is since 23rd March 2018. 23rd March 2018. The HDC. That's a letter of acceptance for them to do. Hereby awards a contract to you and your company to perform the caption work, which is for the provision of acquisition. Acquisition means them taking your property. You have to move out. And here the other thing. When you move out, this document says that the money that they're going to pay you is going to be so low. Because over the years, they allowed your property values to diminish down to rock bottom with crying bad roads, bad water, no electricity, decay. They allowed it, gentrification to take place. So they are coming to pay you a pittance. So much so that the document, the intelligent people who did this, right? Let's read some more for you. 3rd May 2017. They now come yesterday in 2020 in November to tell you, oh, we're going to consult and so on. This is a done deal from long time.
Read for you, public consultation on Piccadilly and Besson Streets East Port of Spain Urban Regeneration Project. Monday, 5th July 2021. They move in with alacrity to take your thing. To take your thing without you even knowing. And here how they're going to do it, 7:30 p.m. To attend, participate via Zoom. Please register at https. All my people in Piccadilly, all you even hear this, all you even know this, all you're not even watching douglAR politics. All you have no time for that. All you're hustling to try and get food on the table. But them hustling to come and take your lavity. And once they take peace, it goes spread like COVID-19 all across the hill. The hills are alive and they eye on it from the long time. All you know the calypsos. You could also view it on TTT. TTT that nobody does watch. TTT on our best day have about 43 people watching. And I people who TV stick on TTT since 1973. They have a Curtis Mattis. You could also listen on PNM Central, I-95.5, 91.1, and 9.9. Iowa better sing. All you put up, all your hand, if you want to lose your property. Yes, Iowa, sing for the people. Sing, Iowa. Nonsense. What? Anyway. Don't say the douglAR didn't tell all you. All you do with it as you want. All you take your PNM. Oh Lord, yes, when they come to take Piccadilly and Besson, when they come to move you out, all you dance like this man. Say, take it Rowley. Come Noel. Yes, Noel Garcia. Oh God, take me house. Oh Lord, take my walk. Oh Lord, take my property. Take my business and leave me poverty. Yes, boy, poverty. I love it, poverty. Oh, God! Yes. What the douglAR say? Me have no property in Piccadilly or Besson Street. So, great is the PNM. The UNC don't even get 2 votes there. What I go say? I see a reading an article here. Antigua and Barbuda donates 5,000 Sinopharm shots to Trinidad and Tobago. Antigua and Barbuda. I think we also got donations from St. Vincent, who are volcano. We got from Barbados. We got from, I think, Cayman Islands, Bermuda, somewhere up there. How come we get in? How come everybody feeling sorry for we and donating things to we? Because we is not beggars. Rowley said we is not beggars. We is not beggars. We big and we bad. So how come all the smaller countries with no oil and gas, no big set of billions, no heritage and stabilization, 23 billion, how come they donating vaccines to us? Yet Rowley went and attacked all of them, including Guyana, Barbados, and so on, and say that they are not really the best at vaccination and the race towards herd immunity, that his PNM government, Trinidad and Tobago, we are the best. Well, if we are the best, Rowley, with vaccination and so on, who we donate vaccinations to? Who we donate vaccine to? Did we donate any to anybody? So how we could be the best and we only receiving donation? We not giving. It's like Stuarty and that man who was dancing half naked. Who go be giving? Eh? Now, we moving right along. We have a video, you know, a video, donations. What about USA? USA giving out 500 million vaccine all across the world. Taiwan 2.5 million, Honduras, this one, Peru get 1.5 million, Mexico, Canada, everybody get. Why we ain't get? Run it.
Today, thanks to the President's commitment to playing a leading role in ending the pandemic everywhere, 2 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine will begin to ship to Peru from the United States, and 2.5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine will ship to Pakistan. Over the weekend, we announced we are sending 1.5 million doses of Moderna to Honduras, and over this week, we'll be able to announce more places that the United States will be sending our doses.
Let me be clear. Just as with the 80 million doses we previously announced, the United States is providing these 500,000 doses with no strings attached. Let me say it again, with no strings attached. Our vaccine donations don't include pressure for favors or potential concessions. We're doing this to save lives, to end this pandemic. That's it, period.
Mondello, Ambassador, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Good to see you once again back here on Long Island. So I guess to start off here, tell us about what it was like on those Twin Islands serving as the ambassador. What is the role? What was the situation there on the ground?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, the weather there is beautiful. And it always is between, I would say, 80 and 90 degrees. And it's a very enjoyable place to be. The government, however, I'll get right to the point, is definitely not looking at the United States the way they should. And I have to say it, I have to be completely blunt about it, because they had, in fact, their prime minister, his name is Keith Rowley, although a nice gentleman, made a statement to the paper that the United States was Trinidad's partner of the past. The United States was Trinidad's partner of the past.
So 500 million vaccinations being given out by the USA. Amory Brown said Keith Christopher Rowley's in constant contact with President Biden and Kamala Harris and other Congress people. And he's leading the charge. Well, you see what's happened when Rowley lead a charge? Your phone battery is dead. And when your phone battery dead, he just go and find PNM people. Who's the lady on a PNM ERHA, a PNM Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards Board, working salary for the PNM in the health system, and on the NIPDEC board? Who is that lady? Put she up, man. Let me see. Yes, man. Dr. Miriam Abdul Richards. Dr. Richards, I find you talking a lot, you know. You didn't tell me yet how much money the PNM does pay. What is your stipend for the NIPDEC board? What's your stipend for the ECRHA board? What's your stipend for the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards board? And what is your pay that them does pay you? All of that from PNM? And you know, in line with the new PNM senator? But let me deal with Abdul Richards now, because I have some questions for you. because you are portraying yourself like some sort of expert. You come out to take over, all right, I am mine. But since you reach, you're not making sense, and that's bothering me. So Abdul Richards, this lady here, Dr. Abdul Richards says, very ill COVID patients still being admitted to the ICU and the HDU. While there has been a general decline in hospital capacity in the parallel healthcare system, capacity in the intensive care unit and high dependency unit continues to be high. Parallel healthcare system down to 51% occupancy, says Dr. Abdul Richards. So Dr. Abdul Richards is trying to tell me and you, the citizens, that COVID-19 Brazilian variant is being suppressed and we are going well because the hospital occupancy is down. It's not as high as it was at 75%. It's down at 51%. But within those statistics, she's saying the HDU, not HDC, like what they're going to kick all you out of Lavanti, take your hill there, and all you can't come back when they build up them Victoria Keys kind of thing. Anyway, the HDU and the ICU, which is where dead-in does take place, that is where we does go to dead. That's still high, but she come to tell me good news, blowing smoke up we K-Packs. But, Dr. Abdul Richards, I need you to answer this. Because I have good information, and it was just confirmed by Stephen Rees when he interviewed this morning Dr. Anand Chattergoon. Because I had spoken to 4 separate private doctors, and their recommendation to people was to try their best not to go into Dr. Abdul and them thing, into Convent Girl and them. Not Convent Girl can, he can nice, 800,000, that's sweet. Now don't take your nurse shoe and your uniform and go in his car, he go throw you out. Not his thing. The hospital system, that doctors are advising people, it's better to fight it at home, because when you go inside there, the system is so bad, it's so rotten, it's so poorly managed by Davlin Thomas, Convent Girl, and they're not listening to the specialist doctors, and they're lying on Dr. Don Martin, that people are fighting up to stay home. And therefore, that explains the drop in the occupancy, Dr. Miriam Abdul Richards. What about that? You didn't tell us about that. Run the video, let me hear Dr. Anand Chattergoon.
If you've got COVID, do 3 things. 1, buy yourself a pulse oximeter. It's only about $100 to $150. A pulse oximeter will tell you what's taking place with your oxygen. Stay at home. Do not rush to the hospitals, please, because we know for a fact that you are not going to get the kind of treatment you expect in the hospitals. And the fact of the matter is, if you do not get the best treatment, if you do not get the optimal treatment, if you don't have people who know what they are doing, you can definitely die. And therefore, stay at home. There's no bed more comfortable than your bed at home. Number 2, there's no greater setting to be in when you are ill than in a setting with your own family and your loved ones. And number 3, when you're at home, there's no better food than home-cooked food. And if there's one message today to tell people, Steph, is if you get the COVID, please, I know you are scared, I know you're worried, contact your private physician. Everybody has a family doctor in this country. We're a small country. Your family physician, please do not rush to the hospitals. Stay at home. You're welcome to call me at 773-7838, and you're welcome to call me or your family physician and opt in the first instance to be treated at home. Steph, I have been managing many patients at home with COVID.
Okay.
They call me, I guide them, yes. And touch wood, I can tell you, so far, none of them has died. And I'm not the only doctor doing it. Many doctors are doing it. I can tell you for a fact, Steph, doctors who have their own family, their own loved ones with COVID, they are treating them at home. Because we now know this treatment, this disease can be treated, you can be treated at home, number one. But more than that, we know that if you go to these medical institutions, you are not guaranteed good treatment, and you're not guaranteed to come out alive. Let me hand over back to you.
Over to you, Dr. Miriam Abdul Richards. You're telling me that the occupancy is down. Never mind, I seen since the government convent girl spike with vaccination of the elderly, the super spreader event, that our cases have just gone up. We're still at 28% of all people being tested positive. We still having 230, 260, 205 deaths, 10 deaths, 17 deaths. But you have come to tell us that occupancy is down. But I am seeing why occupancy is down. Because doctors are advising people, don't go by all that thing. Because the system seems to be killing people. Because we have the highest death rate. I have been here saying, how come my people dead in so? Other countries are going to hospital and you eventually come out. Once we go HDU and ICU, then it's casket. And I can't understand that. But I now do. But Dr. Richards, you didn't stop there. You're talking big. Because you're an expert, must be. Dr. Abdul Richards, this lady here, says, no Delta variant found in Trinidad and Tobago. Okay. So I am saying great. Whew. Fantastic. I now want to know what she based her opinion on. So I'm looking to see out of the 3,000 tests done in the last week or 10 days that a certain percentage, if not all of them, were tested for the Delta Indian variant. And all of these came back negative. Right? But I also know that we don't have the capacity, because remember with the Brazilian variant, they was telling me they're doing random sampling. Remember that stupidity? So I was even waiting to hear, well, they did some random sampling, and out of the 3,000 tests, say, they randomly sampled 10%, 300, and all 300 showed no Delta variant. So I'm reading to see Dr. Richards tell me that. Here, Dr. Richards. Speaking during the Ministry of Health virtual media briefing, she said symptoms were the same and so on. Abdul Richards added, at this point in time, there are no confirmed cases of Delta variant in Trinidad and Tobago. Addressing concerns at the Sinopharm, she gone to the next topic, you know. She just state that categorically for all you, and all you want me take this kind of thing serious. Something so critical, something so serious, not an iota of scientific testing evidence, just a statement from she, and that's it. But then I go now and I look, PAHO director, Delta variant in the Caribbean. At yesterday's weekly COVID-19 media briefing, PAHO director Dr. Carissa Etienne said laboratories had sequenced the variant in the neighboring islands of Barbados, Martinique, St. Martin, Guadeloupe, Aruba, and Puerto Rico. It was also found in the popular travel destinations of the United States of America and Canada. PAHO also reported detections of the Delta variant in Mexico, French Guiana, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and Peru. The Delta variant is 1.2 times more transmissible than others. It's in 95 countries. So this lady, PAHO, telling me about where Delta is all over the place, but testing, sampling, and so on. This one telling me it had none. End of story. It had none. And that's what we have to put up with. And then go Delta variant, World News Daily Express, Friday, 2nd April. Delta variant exploits. Here where the Delta variant exploits, where it lives great, it party like it in carnival. The latest alarming coronavirus variant, and they describe it as alarming, is exploiting low global vaccination rates and a rush to ease pandemic restrictions, adding new urgency to the drive to get more shots in arms and slow its supercharged spread. So the Delta variant is having the happiest time spreading and killing in places that have no vaccination, and we easing off the restrictions. It doesn't that sound like Trinidad and Tobago? We have no vaccination. We down at 6.5%. Guyana and them about 30%. Barbados at 42%. USA at 50%. The whole Caribbean averaging 26% fully vaccinated. We at 6.5% and we easing off now. And all you're telling me about Delta variant? Run the video. They have a video too. Listen. On Breaking Dawn. This is why, Stephen Rees, these people, I cannot take them on. And I've been telling you all. But listen to Dr. Chatagoon. Run it.
No, you mentioned something there, and it's a lot to touch on, because this is going to go longer than I actually thought it would. Because yeah, that's okay for me too, because based on what you just said there, now, we're coming out the month of May. When we started the month, we're coming out the month of June. We're in July now. But when we started the month of June, the report was, and the statistics was, that May was the deadliest COVID month. Now we are at the end of June. We are hearing that June is now the deadliest COVID month. So at what point in time is somebody going to say, or people are going to say, but what is really going on? How could you,
I think people are already saying it. What is really going on here? And you see, this is where the minister and his team, instead of giving us and drowning us with all these statistics, the minister needs to come out and say to us, look, something is happening here. A lot, and I'll tell you something, Steph, what the minister and his team are telling us, and I want to say just one word on that. I'm not really blaming the minister and his team. You know why, Steph? I just want to say one thing on that. I think what the minister has done an injustice to his team of doctors. What he has done really is to present them to be what they really are not. Right? They are not experts in COVID. There's nobody who's an expert in COVID because we're now learning about it. And Roshan Parasham and Marian Abdul Richards and Michelle, they are not experts. But in fairness to them, they have never said that they are. They have never said that. They have never claimed to be experts. But the minister has done that. He is the one who has embarrassed them. And I think if you speak to them on a one-to-one basis, they will tell you, look, we are not really experts. We are now learning about this thing just like you. And therefore, we too are perplexed. We too are worried how this thing is still spreading.
Right.
And the Delta variant was announced, and we told you here on douglAR Politics in Brazil, then it was in Venezuela, and we have porous borders, just like the Brazilian variant came in. But now we have the lowest vaccination rate, 6.5% fully vaccinated people. That is tremendously low on the global scale. And now we are relaxing and opening borders too. So we have porous borders, and now we're going on open borders because the Yankee and them tell we cannot continue with this exemption policy because it's anti-competitive. Even the Newsday, Judy Raymond, even she finds it very frightening because the editorial says, in today's editorial, it is ironic that the borders were closed at such short notice in the absence of a declared state of emergency, whereas now, in the middle of such an emergency, time has been given for people to prepare. There is now greater appreciation of the human cost of depriving citizens a chance to come home. The Newsday now understand the exemption policy was oppressive 17 months after people have been oppressed. It is also clear the state has struggled to manage effectively its own exemption process, placing many thousands of applications in the hands of a cabinet minister, Smallpin, and facing allegations of favoritism, called Jelani. In sharp contrast, other countries have tailored their border management policy in order not to trammel what they see as fundamental rights. For example, every citizen of Jamaica has a right to enter Jamaica. Every citizen of Canada has a right. You all now write that? You now know the truth. You didn't know the truth because it had election and now all of a sudden all you know the truth. And beware when Abdul Richard saying Delta variant not here. We know it in Brazil. We know it in Venezuela. We know we have porous borders. Venezuela COVID-19 death toll reaches 3,101. Is that where y'all want us to reach? We done coming close to 1,000. Don't go anywhere. Listen to me. I telling all you, and I'm fed up hearing it. PNM, UNC, tit for tat. UNC, PNM, same thing. In the last few days, you have seen the intelligence, the intellectual capital of the UNC. You have seen Kamala Prasad-Bissessar on 3 press conferences debating and discussing issues across the board with a variety of measures, telling you what she would do, what she would not do, what's right, what's wrong, and so on. You've seen the intelligence, the calm, answering questions without arrogance. You've seen Jolene John doing interviews. You have seen Damian Lyda, Senator Wade Mark, David Lee doing press conferences, Rudy Indar Singh, all of our UNC intellectuals dealing with issues. Vandana Mohit come down the road. Let me tell you something. I think I could do good interviews. But this interview has to be one of the greatest I've ever seen. It shows an understanding of the politics, of the system, of the parliamentary system, of the democracy, of the issues at hand. It was clear, concise, precise, brilliant, good innuendo, some good shots, good politics, but very smart, very sharp. I was very impressed. I tried to edit this video. I can't edit it. So watch the Lion. Lion, I'm impressed, my boy. Great interview. Fazir, I hope if I ever do an interview with you, you let me talk so too. Run it, Archie. Listen to the Lion. Hear him roar. This is UNC.
And with a number of issues that are being described as controversial and very heated in many ways. By the way, will the opposition show up for today's debate on the Finance Bill 2021 this afternoon? Remember, that's another matter, of course, the financial situation facing Trinidad and Tobago. We're heading up towards another budget period and a budget presentation September into October. Well, let's get the perspective of Dr. Munila, Member of Parliament for Urupuch East, former housing minister in the time of the People's Partnership administration. And because we invariably get into a cricket analogy at some point or the other, I'm being warned not to bowl any no balls. Well, Dr. Munila, I'm sorry to say, good morning to you, by the way, that I'm going to be on the front line this morning. So you can call no balls.
Sorry to say good morning.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning, Fazir, and thank you so much for the kind invitation.
Indeed. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, Dr. Munila. First and foremost, are the opposition going to turn up for Parliament this afternoon?
Well, today, as you indicated earlier, and some people may know, is a very important finance bill to give effect to certain policies of the government, notably, but certainly not only, the liberalization of the fuel market, which is a critical matter. Our position on the Tobago matters, of course, that position is known. We can clarify later, but that is known so that today is a very important finance debate. This is not the same range of issues that are involved with the Tobago autonomy bills. And I believe that later today, the opposition will have something to say in the Parliament on the finance bill, and we look forward to several key speakers presenting on our behalf.
And in relation to that, what do you see as the really key issues? Because I mean, finance in general would be key to our situation anyway, but this whole issue of the gas station situation, because that was presented in the budget last year, and we haven't seen that materialize yet.
There are a range of issues that will culminate today. The government has been on record, as you know, as indicating their intention to liberalize the fuel market, to ensure that the stations, the NP stations, are privately owned, to move in the direction really of privatization and liberalization. Now, while that has been a policy revealed several years ago, I believe, the state of play, as you would say it, given the pandemic, given the economic decline, given the fallout in employment and business, and all that we are seeing and we are feeling, one suspects that now may not be the best time to embark upon some of these harsh measures vis-a-vis fuel in particular, I mean, and the impact on transportation costs, which is already escalating and so on. And today, I believe the Truckers Association or truckers will have some activity today to highlight some of their concerns. But having said that, I prefer not to overspeak because I don't want to preempt our position later in the parliament. And some of the important issues that would be raised by key members of the opposition who have been researching and following this matter for several weeks now.
And before we go into the Tobago issue, which would have generated a bit of discussion, I'd just like to just get your general position, Dr. Moonilal, on the role of the opposition. And I know you've highlighted this many times.
Yeah.
But just give me your perspective.
Well, Fazil, our system of government is the Westminster, and it's not the Westminster, as I hear people say all the time, but the Westminster system, which is a built-in adversarial, political, and legal process. We inherited that, of course, from our English institutional legacy. So it is government by opposition. And the English institutions, I don't want to again go too much into political theory, but English institutions are built on adversarial cultures, the court of law, the parliament system, other institutions that they produce. Over the years, there have been attempts, because of the nature of inclusiveness, participation, and so on, to move away from strict confrontation in political affairs and so on to consensus building and so on. But our system is really built on that fundamental value of critical thought, critical appraisal to institutions. And whether it is in the court of law, whether it is in the parliament, whether it is in other systems as well, we believe that one must have a vibrant opposition to raise issues that establishment or person in office will not by definition want you to talk about. I have a unique experience, as you know. I have been in government on 2 occasions. I've served as leader of government business for 5 years. I think I understand somewhat the parliamentary system and the political process. So the opposition is very important in that light. And even when I was in the government, I sat in the government, I also knew the importance of the opposition and the importance of hearing, of discussing, of getting ideas as best we can. And that is why I think we, in our own way, were successful with some of the bigger issues of special majority and so on.
But Dr. Moonilal, given the realities of opposition and but confrontational type politics, is it your view that the current arrangement that we have is working in the best interest of the people of Trinidad and Tobago?
I think the current arrangement has been there for several years. The current people change. People change over time. The institutions, by and large, they don't change that way. What was really required, Fazir, is that over the years, I mean, whether from Eric Williams come down, we have had leadership and political leadership in government and opposition, but government drives. The role of government is really driving, facilitating. Over the years, and I just want to start by saying that when Mr. Pandey and Mr. Manning had to make fundamental changes to the Constitution to deal with the police service, which I hope we could talk about it later, to deal with the police service, they actually met. Mr. Manning as Prime Minister brought his team. Mr. Pandey brought his team. They sat, they had hours and hours and days of discussion, and they built, that wasn't consultation alone. I'm hearing the term consultation a lot, and sometimes, we express ourselves on the issue of consultation. But leadership is built also on consensus. And when you have to make really fundamental change to a society, now changing the nature and structure of the Union of Tobago and Trinidad is as fundamental as you can get. I mean, this is not an amendment to increase the fine for littering and so on. This is serious business. Leadership must build consensus, not just consultation. And over the years, we have seen that with, Mr. Pandey, Mr. Manning, Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, and others, when we have had fundamental issues like this. Now, the other point to put in the thing here is that we are asking for 2/3 majority, which is constitutional change of the highest order, so to speak. Normally, when we say special majority, we mean 3/5. This time we're talking 2/3, which is higher. The only time the partnership brought a bill like that in 5 years had to do, if you really recall, we called it the hanging bill. It was to facilitate the execution for murder and so on. That was the only time we ever brought something like that. These things are rare. But to do that, you require consensus building around the board, around the table. And I think that a fundamental flaw here is that the government itself took the approach that there will be no consensus building. We will come to Parliament, put our case, you will come to Parliament, put your case, and let's see where the chips fall. It is not as simple as that. And I think in a pandemic now, I heard the Prime Minister, and he said, well, government goes on, Parliament goes on, everything must happen. We know we're in a pandemic, but in a pandemic is probably the worst time of ever to bring such serious constitutional change. First to begin, you don't have the facilities. In fact, they have been doing online polling and online consultation. Now, in online consultation, you know and I know, you could have one man with 10 fake names writing all the anti-this and anti-that and pro-this and pro-that, so that the government itself couldn't properly consult or build consensus when you have virtual meetings online and so on, because you don't know who is who, you don't know fish from fowl. The other point about that is that in a pandemic, people are obviously concerned with their health. Our health. I mean, we are concerned as if somebody cough next to we. We're not concerned too much with the union of this and and section 61(3) and AB. We're concerned with first staying alive. That is the priority. And this is the worst time of all. But there's an additional reason I will end with on that, is that Tobago itself is divided. The island of Tobago just had an election a few months ago, of which the people did not build consensus or did not arrive at a party or a system that will allow one party to rule for the time being. So at the time when Tobago is 50-50 divided, you come now to say we're going to make fundamental change to the union, self-government, which we believe now is a more of a dependency, and you cannot do it. And in the Parliament, it was a sham. I begin by saying that the House of Representatives is not Balize House. It don't work like that. If you're in Balize House and you make a good speech, somebody will pass a note and say, you're going good, continue. It doesn't work so in Parliament. We have rules. And Fazir, I have to immediately arrive at our position. You can't be playing the game and say it's 20 overs. And when you check the score at 19 overs, they say, okay, fellas, let me continue to the 50th over. It doesn't work like that. We have rules. When the Parliament was meeting on Tuesday or so, I was also carded to speak. So we listened to the government members. We knew the Prime Minister would intervene at some time. We would like an opportunity to reply and so on. The Prime Minister came, and then a most amazing thing, I have the standing order before me here. There's a standing order here for educating people a bit. 46, 1 and 2. This has been, something like this is in place for donkey years. Since independence, we have this. So this is not new. It says a minister may conclude a debate on any motion that is critical of the government. It doesn't say a minister may conclude a debate critical of the government. It is not the debate has to be critical of the government, because every debate is critical of a government, because there's a to and fro. It is an emotion that is critical to the government. And why did the framers of the standing orders put that? They put it because when the opposition move a motion, generally the man who moves the motion will speak last. But if a motion is critical of the government, the people who write this, including me, I was part of a team that wrote this. We believe that the government must have the last say if a motion is critical of the government. Not if the debate is critical. Every debate, unless you're giving greetings for Diwali, Eid and Christmas, everything is critical. But it is the motion. Mr. Rowley used that for him to wind up the debate, which was wrong. And then he came in the end and extended from 20 overs to 50 overs, which was probably, that was insult to injury or injury to insult.
And we could probably spend the rest of the morning on that, but I just... because there are so many others, but I just want to what the Prime Minister said, because he had his media conference immediately after the leader of the opposition, the leader of the UNC, media conference, and he said the Speaker of the House looked over on the opposition side for someone to rise to make a contribution, and that didn't happen, which is why the Speaker turned to him to wrap up the discussion.
Well, the Speaker, we are saying humbly, and I reiterate that it is the intention of the opposition to file a motion of no confidence on the Speaker to clarify these matters, to bring light onto it, and to advocated. But we believe that the Speaker and the government cannot use the Prime Minister to wind up debate. It was not his motion. It was a motion of Camille Robinson Regis. She doesn't have the right to say, okay, I am here, I am not sick, I am not unwell, I am not leaving the country. But allow this man to talk for me. It don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I cannot go in the parliament.
I hear you on that, Dr. Munilal, but I just want to clarify. I just want to clarify just the one point.
Sure.
Was the opposition ready at that time to make a contribution?
The opposition had speakers, including myself. When we looked, the government had speakers, of course. They sent several speakers, in fairness to the government. We knew there were other speakers like Mr. Stuart Young, Dr. Rowley, and others to speak who would like to speak. So there was a point when they were sending, I mean, with great respect to my parliamentary colleagues, they were sending backbenchers and so on. There wasn't much that I would say respectfully that you could rebut. I don't want to use the all-force term that you flinging out bushcard, but it's like you're playing and you have people speaking and you don't have much to respond. But clearly, if a prime minister is speaking, we expect that the prime minister will make policy announcements and so on, and he will be in a position to speak, and the opposition would like to respond to a prime minister or even a senior minister, and in this case, the minister of, the energy minister is a minister in the office of the prime minister and should be speaking on policy matters given his ministry. But the long and short is that what the prime minister did there was really a double sin. In the first case, you ought not to wind up, you cannot wind up a debate because the motion is not critical of the government. The debate is, not the motion. And they ought not to do that. The person who moved the motion, unless she was ill, unwell, unless she had a banking appointment or so, she could not give somebody else that card to wind up the debate. And secondly, when the man goes there, we are told 60 minutes to wind up. He finished, somebody on that side say, you're doing good, brother, continue. So you say, okay, I'll take our next hour. It doesn't work like that. And we have a duty, Fazir, to uphold the dignity of the House, to uphold the integrity of the House. It is not in our interest that the Parliament collapse. And enough is enough. There are sometimes you have to make a statement. And the walkout, yesterday, the Oropouche constituency met an emergency session virtually and has mandated me as well to express publicly our support for the walkout. Because there's a point in which you just cannot allow something to happen. Then you could accuse us this morning of aiding and abetting the government in breaking the law. We can't do that either. So I would leave it at that for now.
Sure. And we're going to take a break in a short while, and we'll come back and develop some other issues as well. But you just referenced the dignity of the parliament. Some will say, what dignity, given the behavior that goes on there? And two, you just talked about an emergency session of the Oropouche East constituency. Do we really believe that the Oropouche constituency would do otherwise than endorse what the party is doing?
You don't know some of the executive members I deal with, but having said that, a member of parliament is not a member of the executive. That way they meet, they discuss. Sometimes they make critical points. Sometimes they do not. Sometimes they support me. Sometimes they may take a position that is critical of mine. It happens that way. So one cannot preempt, but they give support, and the support is important that they understood that position. So I would tell you that if Rowley feels that the House of Representatives is Bali's house, he has another thing coming.
But just on that point about the dignity of the House, many will have pointed out that not just with this particular term, but just generally, that the way we conduct our parliamentary business is anything but dignified.
Well, I would tell you this way: the Parliament is not a bishop's tea party. It is not for the faint-hearted. There are issues that people are emotional and passionate on. But generally, I believe over the years, if I'm to generalize, our Parliament, unlike many in the world, have maintained a semblance of dignity and integrity. I mean, we haven't reached the point where people fling chairs across the floor yet, but we don't want to reach there. And in fact, that is the point I'm making, is that there are some countries in the world, in Asia, in Latin America, and so on, when the parliament collapses, people get up from their chair and they do other things. And those other things are atrocious. They undermine our values. They undermine how we believe civilized society should conduct itself. And we cannot reach there. But we will not reach there if we take strong positions on the integrity of the parliament, which we all have a duty to protect.
Dr. Munilal, we'll pause for a moment and remind everybody of the COVID-19 protocols as well. But when we come back, we'll continue our dialogue and indeed there's a number of other issues in the politics. You said you wanted to talk a bit more about the police service situation as well, which we'll also get to. But let's take that break. And as we do so, let's give you those important reminders about the COVID-19 protocols, because we have to constantly remind ourselves that we are still very much in a time of the pandemic. We'll go to the break with those reminders and then return to our dialogue. Into this morning, we feel it's important that you be aware of those numbers in whatever part of the country that you're in. But let's return to our discussion with Dr. Rudal Munilal, Member of Parliament for Oropouche East, with all of the issues on the table politically. And before we talk about, for example, the issue of what we heard from the Prime Minister expressing some reservations about the request for 22 million for another batch of police vehicles, and indeed Gary Griffith challenging his critics to take him on as he seeks another term as Commissioner of Police. Just this point, Dr. Munilal, about the UNC, which is an active political party which purports to represent all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, yet you don't contest seats in Tobago. Dr. Munilal, how is that justifiable?
Okay, well, let me say first that in the Parliament over the years, the PNM has been raising that issue almost exactly as you do. And they put it in the place in the context that you want to speak on behalf of the Twin Island Republic, but you don't field candidates in one island. Now, what that is wrong. In fact, they were corrected a few days ago. The UNC have over the years fielded candidates. I believe both Jerlene John and Beverly Ramsey Moore were candidates of the UNC in an election sometime before. So it is wrong to say we never did. But having said that, the UNC's approach is a different approach. It is rooted in our constitution. It is rooted in our values. We have three fundamental values. We believe in equality, we believe in social justice, and we believe in national unity. Those concepts are rooted in the Constitution of the United National Congress. But to represent the people of Tobago, you just don't have to put a candidate alone. Our model of representation has always been partnerships. We have always been involved with partnerships with the people of Tobago because we believe that the people of Tobago knows best their situation. We don't believe that we can sit on St. Vincent Street and make the law for Tobago, allow the people of Tobago to represent themselves, who comes from the village, who comes from the bosom, who comes from the bowels of the people of Tobago. And when they come, we work with them. So we have built a partnership model. Now, the PNM cannot understand that because they have a unilinear approach to politics, a unitary structure, meaning that they will field a candidate in the smallest village in the most remote part of an island. And that is fine if it is the PNM way. Our way have been partnership building. We have been doing that. This is why we argued strenuously that the people of Tobago must build consensus as to how they want to get forward. That cannot be determined in Balize House and on St. Vincent Street, Port of Spain by the PNM and by Keith Rowley. So I will leave it at that for now.
Sure. And is that confirmation, therefore, that you are aligned with the Progressive Democratic Patriots? So
it is confirmation that we are aligned with any group of people in Tobago who would speak to us. And this is the next thing I want to say quickly is that, you know, they build this kind of, I saw somebody on the Facebook quite rightly said the other day, call me UNC if you want. I don't care. So what happens if somebody is aligned to the UNC or somebody's view at a point in time synchronized with the opposition UNC in Trinidad? Is that a crime? But that's a criminal offense to say, I support the view of the UNC on this occasion. So somebody wrote a statement and said, well, call me UNC. Nothing is wrong if we build alliances and partnership with people in their specific locality who we believe can better represent the people on the island of Tobago. And when we go to Parliament, we listen to the views of all. We listen to the PNM, of course, but we listen to the views of all.
I hear you on that, Dr. Mullah. Thanks for at least responding to that particular perspective, which, as you said, you would have heard many times over. Let's get to the police situation and what we are seeing now from the Prime Minister expressing his reservations about this request for 22 million for police vehicles. And, of course, Gary Griffith seeking a second term as Commissioner of Police.
Well, let me begin by saying that I have also had the opportunity to sit for, I believe, 5 years as well on the National Security Council and to work with law enforcement over the years and particularly the police service because of the nature of law enforcement. And the last time the police service, I believe, purchased vehicles and got their full allotment, which they asked for, was in 2015. Today, I was appalled to hear the Prime Minister of the country speaking about the police service and saying SUVs costing $22 million and 80 SUVs for that is too expensive. Tell them go and look for cheaper vehicles. Now, that is $275,000 to $250,000 for an SUV, which in the scheme of things is not big. I mean, there's a minister of government, it was on the social media, purchasing a high-end Land Cruiser for $703,000. The vehicle for the police is less than half the price of a high-end vehicle for a government minister. Having said that, Fazir, I have no difficulty with ministers buying high-end car. That is part of their terms and conditions. But in the police, you cannot buy sedans. We had the same discussion when I was there. When you have big burly policemen with bulletproof vests, with 2-3 gun on them, with all this equipment on them and so on, torchlight on one side, handcuff on the next side, you can't put 3 policemen like that in a Tida to sit down in the back of a wet man or to sit down in the back of a sedan. It cannot work that way. Then police vehicles, by definition, police vehicles, you will take 4 years to use a vehicle to get a certain mileage, 100,000 miles or whatever. The police will do that in a few months. The police cars work 12 to 15 hours a day. A normal vehicle for a householder in this country will work 2 hours a day, more or less, if at all. Sometimes Saturday and Sunday, you're home, your car park up. Many people have cars, they just have to go and tumble the engine, take a drive around the neighborhood to make sure it working. 15 hours a day for the police vehicle. They have cut the police budget by $170 million, Fazir. Recently, you would follow a finance bill. They had $200 million for spying equipment, but cut the police goods and service budget by $170 million, or 33% of what they want. Today, garages won't fix vehicles. So Rowley stands up and say, fix the vehicles. You have graveyard of police vehicle, but you give them no money to fix vehicle. It is the private sector. I have mechanics in my constituency who offer the police to fix their vehicle free. Sometimes the policeman takes a few dollars from his pocket to fix for minor repairs if you have to buy a bulb, for example, so that the government will not give the police money to fix their vehicles. They slash their budget. They know that police vehicles burn up a lot more because they can do what ordinary people do in 4 years. They take 1 year to do it. And they are not giving the police vehicles. The police owes a private garage in this country $30 million as we speak. They have no money to pay them. Garage closed the door on the police. And the Prime Minister says, now you can't fix your own vehicle, so don't ask me for new expensive vehicle. While his ministers could drive vehicles 3 times the cost of a police vehicle. And they're not chasing down bandits. They're not carrying exhibits in the vehicle. They're not going through rough terrain and so on. So this is a point I wanted to raise, really, the hypocrisy of the police, of the Prime Minister in not understanding, and he has been there some years now, that every 4 years you have to change around the police service cars and vehicles. I mean, we watch TV. If you look at LAPD, you look at New York Police Department and so on, almost every division operates with SUV, operate with these heavy duty vehicles because of the nature of work they do. You cannot provide them with these small cars and so on. So I wanted to raise that matter. The other matter you raise, of course, is the police commissioner's reappointment. Yes. Now, what I can say is that there have been amendment. They have moved by order to amend the process, the selection order, so to speak. Now, we believe that there are some fundamental flaws with that. I believe in the Senate, they have filed what is called a motion to negatize. It means that there's a motion to undo it, so to speak, because they have removed certain processes. Having said that, that will go to the Senate. I don't want to preempt that debate as well, but what I can say, I mean, personally, of course, I will have no great difficulty in the reappointment of Gary Griffith for another 3 years, as the case may be, whatever is the contractual time, unless there's some phantom candidate that we don't know of, more qualified and more experienced and so on. Mr. Griffith, as you know, is a very passionate, emotional person when it comes to his job, public duty. He handles criticism, unlike, I believe, some of us. Maybe, I don't know if he's probably more diplomatic than I am, but He handles criticism in a
I doubt
different
very
way.
much that people will classify Gary Griffith as diplomatic.
Well, I don't know any other side of him, but having said that, he has his way. But the point is that, yes, leadership, whether in their institutions, political leadership, all have their way, but it is to deliver the goods and services for which they are paid. I believe Mr. Griffith has done a commendable job in some areas. He has done a fair job in other areas. He has certainly not been receiving the rewards for his work. He has not been receiving the support, the resource support. For example, just to get back on that, Mr. Rowley opened a Carenage police station. He's in high praise of the new maritime and riverine unit of the police service. They can chase bandit in the sea now. They have not given 1 cent to that unit. They have not provided resources. They have 6 Damian boats parked up in Chagaramas. They don't have fuel. They don't have manpower. I use your station again to call on the police to make at least 2, if not 3 of those boats, make them available to the Trinidad and Tobago Maritime and Riverine Patrol Unit so that the police can use those resources that park up there. This government only buying new boat. I always tell them, if you could have got vaccine by buying boats and aeroplane, we have all the vaccine we want already. This government could buy boat, but they cannot find vaccines. And that is the crisis that we face now.
And speaking about that, Dr. Mulan, in the time that we have available, and I know obviously your party has been very critical of this government in relation to the vaccine situation. We see that some more vaccines are coming in. We're getting some more from Antigua, Barbuda. What is your perspective on this ongoing challenge?
Well, what I would say is that we identified this challenge a year or more ago. We knew that the world will only be, there's a saying, Fazir, each of us will be safe when every one of us is safe. Each of us will be safe only when everyone is safe. And therefore, we knew that we need to get the vaccines. This country, I believe, and I will tell you now, I believe we will get vaccines in the coming days, and I believe we will get a lot from the United States. Because I believe the United States was waiting on Thursday, I believe yesterday, I believe they were waiting for Keith Rowley to demit the chair of CARICOM. He was chairman of CARICOM. And I believe that no government will assist CARICOM that way unless he was removed or he demitted office. He demitted office yesterday. I believe we will now see a flow of vaccines coming, particularly from the United States. This government has not used its diplomatic and political space in the world to procure vaccines because they did not have the political will. And I don't think they understood the importance of vaccination. In February 17th or thereabout, you will recall when a major conglomerate was helping this government to bring in 351,000 vaccines, the quote-unquote higher quality vaccines. And the government refused that because the business community said, we will use our money. Don't worry about that. We have money, we'll use it. Give us that as a tax credit, tax write-off, as the case may be, for our accounts of the future. So imagine you getting 351,000 vaccines to come into Trinidad. You pay not a cent, but you offset it later on with their taxes. The government refused that. They refused that. That was a criminal act. Today, the blood of the victims of the COVID victims, their blood must fall on the hands of the government. I make no apology for saying that. Do you know the American CDC? They are now saying that a death by COVID is a preventable death. We did not have to have 857 people dying of COVID. We did not have to. That is preventable. God forbid, that is not like other diseases where there's no cure, there's no treatment. When something happened, well, sorry for you. And today, the government stands accused of criminal negligence in not procuring vaccines and not having the political will, the know-how. And on the vaccines matter, I think they're getting some donations coming in. They are still waiting on their long-term arrangements with the Chinese, I believe. Now, I just followed the news. I believe the European Medicines Agency has just created a green pass, a vaccine passport, so to speak, of which they are saying that these vaccines that we are using in Trinidad, persons will not be able to travel to the European Union and so on. There's a lot of vaccine politics to emerge. That is a matter, I believe, that will be dealt with by the multilateral system. because the multilateral system must come in there, the UN and other agencies, to ensure that persons who have been vaccinated in their country using a World Health approved vaccine can travel to other countries. But we are in a crisis with vaccines. We don't have a rollout, we have a crawl out. In fact, in the Caribbean today, I believe Haiti would now say to Trinidad and Tobago, TNT, I'm sorry, because I think they may be better off today than Trinidad and Tobago. And that falls squarely on the government. We'll be monitoring that situation. We have for zero this issue of the Delta variant. There are two related issues to arise now. Is the Delta variant
at this
in
point,
Trinidad and
the
Tobago?
medical professionals are telling us we have no evidence of the variant being here as yet.
And that is good. I'm so happy to say that. And we pray that that will remain so, because we had no evidence of COVID being in the country as well. You know that. Yes. Before COVID came, we had no evidence. So we have to ensure that we are prepared. We take the steps to ensure that the Delta variant don't visit our shores. And the other matter is that I don't want to talk too much because last time I think I got in trouble. The Sinopharm vaccine we are giving, several areas of the world are doing that. There are over 90 countries giving the Sinopharm vaccine. Many countries have decided that to be 100% sure, persons should get what is called a third booster dose. Nothing is wrong with that again. Nothing is wrong with that. But the government from today, you cannot wait for December this year or next year to say, you know, we have to get a third booster shot. Let's put things in place. From now, we must be looking at the Delta variant, testing, ensuring it doesn't visit our shores, and we must be prepared in the event that there are nationals of this country, citizens, who may need a third booster shot. We have to procure vaccines for that event.
Dr. Mulal, we have to leave it there for the moment. Thank you very much.
President, before you remove the bails, thank you very much again. An interesting conversation. I look forward to guessing with you in the future.
Indeed. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you and God bless.
Conversation. And we haven't extended this.